Inside the stories that affect you. This is Inside KELOLAND.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Roads and ranches all across KELOLAND are getting put back together after devastating spring flooding. In Turner County in southeast South Dakota, people are still dealing with washed out bridges and farms. Matt Holson shows you what one farmer is dealing with and what it's going to take to get country roads back in usable condition.
Once it fills with water, everything slides around again, and it's a mess.
Brad Rops and his family live south of Lenox. To say the drive to and from his 80-acre piece of land is an adventure is a bumpy understatement.
Yeah, this has been a muddy mess. The neighbors have taken to doing their own maintenance here. So every day they take a tractor and a blade, and they've knocked the ruts down, and this is pretty good right now. So
Rob says no cars have been off his property since mid-March, just trucks. His neighbors are stuck in the same pickle as well.
They're using a four-wheel drive tractor to get up and down their driveway.
Lucky for them, they have a driveway. After a splashy trip, we finally arrive at the Rops' home. As you can see, his driveway has been washed away thanks to the nearby Vermilion River.
We've been through it before. Last year we lost some of the dike or the levee that's around our farmyard, and so we caught a lot more river current this time, and it did a lot more damage.
Rob says after 3 inches of rain in early March, his family was stuck here for 12 days because of flooding. A lot of water and ice chunks ripped through the property they've lived on since 1991.
Pretty much it's taken all the rock and gravel and put it where we don't want it. It's dumped it in fields, it's moved it out into my cattle yard, out into the lawn.
To make matters worse, the morning we arrived, he had just gotten his tractor stuck trying to get pigs out to a trailer nearby so they could go to market.
It just sank out of sight, and so I've got that to get unstuck today and hopefully try to figure out another solution.
Everywhere you look at Rops' farm, there's damage, tens of thousands of dollars worth. It will likely take all summer to get things back to the way it was.
Head out into the rest of Turner County and you'll find similar issues.
There's a big reason we keep the roads closed around here. This is to keep the public safe so they do not drop a vehicle in a hole that is similar to what's behind us.
This washed out culvert is west of Parker and south of the local golf course.
We're in the millions of dollars of damage.
Turner County Emergency Manager Brad Georgeson says there are currently 8 bridges closed because of flood damage.
You might have to add 1 mile onto your trip, and you might have to add 20 miles onto your trip to get to the same place where it would have taken considerably less time to get there on a normal sunny day where roads are fine.
Truck traffic is limited right now, and townships and municipalities are tallying up what it will take to repair everything. In the meantime, that has a big impact on farmers and ranchers.
It's just another day in South Dakota. We're here, we'll get through this, we'll make it, but it's just going to take time like anything else.
And a lot of patience and positivity. For Rops, this mess makes him think about selling his little corner of KELOLAND, but he says he has the energy to persevere.
Yes, we wondered about moving, but we'll keep trying. And I don't think most farmers are going to pack it in.
Still, it does take a toll.
It's discouraging, but it's, I don't know. It's part of life. We go through bad situations, and I guess this time it was this area's turn to take a hit. It can be tornadoes, it can be drought. I mean, we have areas of the state that went through bad drought here the last couple of years, and I guess I'd rather see things green than brown and crispy and dry. So I won't ever say I don't want rain, but moderate amounts would be good.
With Eye on KELOLAND, I'm Matt Holson.
Rob says that the rain is causing a lot of trouble for just about everyone. He has another neighbor with 400 head of cattle ready for market, but semis can't get to the property. Well, FAST, FAST. Do you know what the acronym stands for? It's something that you need to know. We'll be right back. Welcome back. May is Stroke Month. Stroke is the third leading cause of death in the United States. More than 140,000 people a year in the country die of a stroke. Join us tonight is Dr. Larry Burris from Sanford Health. Thank you for joining us here. Talk about some of the warning signs of stroke. We hear so much about FAST, the acronym FAST.
So sure, FAST is an acronym we use to describe the symptoms of stroke, and the F stands for facial, as in facial droop. So if someone has a facial droop, it's one of the first signs of a stroke. The second would be arm, that your arm drifts. So as you lift your arms up, one drifts down. That would be another sign. The S would be speech, so dysarthric speech or thick speech almost sounds like people are drunk sometimes when they talk that way. And T is time, so to call 911 and get to the ER fast.
So when you start experiencing some of these symptoms, you don't have a lot of time.
You don't have a lot of time. So there's a concept that we say time is brain. So every minute that goes by, you lose more and more brain. One study would say that in 1 minute's time, you lose over 2 million neurons. Or another way to look at it is that 1 hour of not being treated for a stroke is aging 3.6 years in your life. When
you call 911, in the meantime, until ambulance gets there, is there anything a person can do?
Not much. It would be being in a safe place, right? So if you're not walking very well, to make sure you're not falling down. If people have a difficulty speaking, typically we say you shouldn't drink anything because it could go in their lungs. Just keep them calm and call 911.
How does Sanford respond to someone who's having a stroke once they get there?
So there's actually a stroke code. So usually we hear from EMS before they come in, and when they arrive, since time is brain, a whole series of events occurs. So they're evaluated quickly with something called a stroke scale, and that stroke scale would indicate the odds of having a stroke, and then imaging is done immediately, and if in a certain window of time, they're giving something called TPA, which is a clot buster.
Okay, and then that's just like some medication?
It's a medication, so it varies. So when it comes to stroke, the idea is first to identify, come in, get identified. Second thing is to see if there's a reason or a way to reverse it. And there are two major ways to reverse strokes. One would be TPA, which is a clot buster. We inject that in the vessel, and that breaks up the clot and can improve flow. Another is intervention, where we actually go in with a catheter through the groin or the wrist, go and actually grab the clot and pull it out of the body as well.
Okay, and how long does it take to recover from something like this?
It depends. So we have patients that come in and have what would be a massive stroke, so you're not moving one side of their body, and they either get TPA or they get stent removal of the clot, and they can literally walk out of the hospital in a couple days.
Wow.
People who takes longer to get in because we have a very rural state, so this ability to do these things isn't every place. So say it takes longer to get to their first place to get TPA, then they may have some evidence of stroke despite having the treatment.
Okay, I want to get your take on this. There is a 28-year-old Oklahoma man, and he's speaking out after doctors say that he suffered a stroke by popping his neck. The story's been making some national headlines. Take a listen.
The moment I heard the pop, everything on my left side started to go numb. I got up and I tried to go get an ice pack from the fridge, and I remember I couldn't walk straight.
Now, Josh tore his vertebral artery, a crucial vessel leading to the brain. Doctor, how common is this?
It occurs. It's a different kind of practice, so I see 3 or 4 of these a year usually. You have 4 major vessels that go from your heart to your brain. The carotid arteries in the front that we all know about, and the vertebral arteries are ones that kind of snake through the bones of the back of your neck. So if you crack your neck or get in a car accident or have a neck injury, sometimes that artery can be pinched and cause an obstruction and cause a stroke to your brainstem.
You can't just do it yourself.
Well, you can. I mean, if you crack your neck, I wouldn't say it's the most common. Probably the most common way we see these are automobile accidents where there's a lot of force done.
Right.
In this case, he cracked his neck. Any kind of poppy movement can do that, though. Yes.
Kind of scary.
Yes.
Okay. I hear a question. Why can't some victims identify stroke symptoms?
Because it's very difficult sometimes. So we talk about the FAST acronym, and that's pretty easy. But sometimes it's very subtle. So sometimes it's I can't move my finger. Sometimes my speech is slurred. Sometimes I think I slipped on my arm wrong. So it's not always obvious. So we would say if there's even a question in your mind, is something wrong neurologically, they're going to see your doctor and or the ER immediately, who's the best thing to do.
Is there any hereditary ties to someone being susceptible to a stroke?
There are some clotting defects. Some people have what we call a hypercoagulable state, in which their blood is thicker than others. There's also, in the world of stroke, it also includes hemorrhages. So there are some inherited those things. Probably the biggest inherited issue is lifestyle. So
now I was going to ask you along those lines, what are the risk factors?
So lifestyle, we divide them in things you can modify and things you can't modify. So the things you can modify would be, if you have high blood pressure, make sure it's treated. If you have diabetes, make sure it's controlled. And if your cholesterol is elevated, get it treated. But it also includes exercise and smoking. And those, unfortunately, there's no magical pill for. They're probably the best things to do, so those are easily modified. And then there are non-modifiable things you can't do, as in age. As you get older, you have increased risk. For women, there's a huge increase in the amount of strokes in women in the middle ages. So typically, women have less risk factors for cardiovascular problems than men. But because of some increase in truncal obesity around the belly in women now, there's a large increase from 35 to 54-year-old women who are now having strokes. So that age group has the same risk factor as men.
All right.
So yes, so those things, again, modification of diet, exercise are good.
All right, a lot of good information there. Thank you for being on Inside Kettleland. Good to see you. Still ahead, a tour of the best and more innovative homes across the area. What you can expect for the Spring Parade of Homes coming up. Welcome back to Inside Kettleland. In just a week, the Spring Parade of Homes is happening in the Sioux Falls area. You're going to be able to tour more than 80 newly built homes in all price ranges. Joining me now is Eric Christensen with Trademark Homes. He is the Parade Homes Chair this year and also has 3 homes on the parade. Thanks for being here on Inside Kettleland. Tell me about the types of homes that people have a chance to see.
You know, it kind of covers all the gamuts. The homes that go from 160,000 to well over $1 million. So we've got kind of anything that you're looking to see. You're going to find from ranch styles, 2 stories, townhomes, twin homes, those kinds of things.
And where are they located? I think you know, people tend to think there's like in southern Sioux Falls, big building area, East Sioux Falls, but that's not the case.
Well, you're for sure going to see those areas, but you're also going to see. We have other ones in T. We have them in Harrisburg, Canton. We even have one up in Wentworth, which would be Lake Madison area, and Brandon too.
Do you think people are shy away from seeing some of the parade of homes because they figure they can't afford them? Because we've seen some pretty extravagant homes over the years.
Yes, you're not wrong. The thing about it is that I do like, though, being that we work the parade, so we get to hear all the questions that people have. A lot of people are just looking for a new floor for their kitchen. They're looking for a new paint scheme for their house. Coming out and they get to see what it looks like on a wall, and we'll answer those questions for them if they want to know what a paint color is, that kind of thing. So a lot of people just want to get out and yeah, see what it looks like on something. So.
Sure, absolutely. Well, speaking of that, what are some of the latest trends that people can look for this year?
You know, the paint colors always change every year. We're seeing you know, almost everybody's wanting painted millwork, where we used to never do that, and now we're starting to see the painted millwork go from just plain white to grays and those kinds of things. I do see that some of the parade homes have got some really neat stuff, like there's a couple with rooftop patios, and how cool is that? Hibachi style kitchen, things like that. So there's a lot of fun things come out.
I don't know how long you've been building homes, but can you see some of the changes over the years? And do we, like clothing, sometimes revert back to what's old is new again?
Yeah. You know, we haven't gotten quite back to the golden oak stages yet that they did back in
shag carpet and wall paneling?
We're not quite back there yet, but definitely things like, you know, when you went back in the day, a plush carpet was great. Well, everybody went to frizzes. Well, back the plush is coming back, Berbers, those kinds of things. So it definitely does kind of come around. What goes around comes around. Absolutely.
What about barnwood? That was pretty popular in the last couple of years. I don't know if barnwood still, people like that little accent.
Yep, we're still seeing a fair amount of that, but it definitely has waned a little bit. Still seeing a lot of barn doors, but I think that, you know, again, those are kind of trends that start to ebb and flow a little bit. I'm trying to think of something. You know, we're seeing a lot more. The tops are going away from the granites to now quartz is pretty much king for tops, that kind of a thing. So we're you know, that stuff always changes.
When somebody tours a parade of home, one of the homes on the tour, do they talk to the builders and say, can you do custom this, custom that, custom railings, custom counters?
Yeah, more so than ever. And
is that right?
Yeah, we're not seeing that just in houses that are, you know, 600,000 and up. We're seeing that in houses that they're 300,000. They still want some of that custom stuff. They still want to have the home integration, the home automation stuff that maybe was only exclusively back in the past for the people spending lots of money. Well, there's people that are saying that's my lifestyle, that's what I want to have in my house, and so definitely see that in every range.
Yeah. How much does the tour cost?
So the 80 of the homes right now are free. They can get in through any of those, but then there's 2 featured homes. The 2 featured homes are $5 a piece to get in, and that goes to the Builders Care Foundation.
And what does that do?
So that raises money for things like our repair fair, which we go out and find people that might need a handicap, like a wheelchair ramp or something like that, and we'll build that for them. We also do scholarships for kids. We also do oh, geez.
It does a lot. Huh?
Yeah, no, it's lots of things. We've given money to like the O'Gorman schools for helping put together the kind of the schooling that they have for kids to teach them about the trades. We want kids to get into the trades. And so
so there's a big push for that.
Yeah, we have a summer camp that we do for 7th and 8th graders, things like that. So.
Are a lot of the builders still scrambling right now?
More than you know, and I think we just heard some rain, so that's not what I wanted to hear.
No, that's true. But I'm sure that everybody will be working late hours to get their homes done, right?
Yes, I'm heading from here there. So.
Okay, all right. So just talk a little bit about the times and dates again for the Parade of Homes.
So it's the weekends, the 11th and 12th, and then the 18th and 19th, and it's 1 to 5. Come out and see us. We'll be out there with them.
Where can they get a listing of the homes so they can a map?
Yeah, so the Home Ideas magazine will have a map of all the homes and descriptions. They can get those at the Hy-Vees. They can go get those now, or you can go to our website. It's hbasuempire.com, and there's an interactive map there that they can tour the homes through that way.
And my producer just told me in my ear, you can go to KettleLand.com and find the map as well. All right, thanks for being on Inside Kettleland. I really appreciate your time. Welcome back. The Levitt at the Falls project will be finished in a matter of months. When it's open for summer events, it's going to change the area that it was built in. According to the Levitt executive director, the new entertainment venue should add about $5 million of economic impact every year. Sammy Bielen talks with businesses surrounding the Levitt about what this new hot spot could mean for them.
Downtown Sioux Falls is constantly changing, with new stores and restaurants popping up along the main stretch all the time. The biggest transformation happening, though, is along Phillips Avenue a little farther north.
There was always a little bit of a break in Phillips between, 8th and Phillips to the Falls, and so it's nice to have that continue down Phillips Avenue.
Lee McCoy and her business partners decided to open Bella Rosa in the Jones 421 building a few years ago. Little did they know then, a huge concert venue was going to be built right across the street.
It was kind of a leap of faith, but we're so excited for the growth. We think it's just going to continue to grow, and we're excited to have that awareness for this area of Sioux Falls.
It's huge because that's a lifestyle and a culture thing that people really want in a downtown living experience.
Lloyd Companies is building the Cascade just a few blocks down. This apartment complex with businesses on the ground floor was actually built with the future Levitt shell in mind.
It's a hugely positive thing, and it was a big driver for almost every decision we made when we designed this project.
That includes adding a patio to the Severance Brewing Company and balconies for residents of the building to enjoy summer shows from home.
You know, people anticipate going out to grab a quick dinner before the concerts. Our main stage shows will be from 7 to 9, so it gives people lots of time on either end of that to enjoy the other great accommodations here.
We're just going to kind of play it by ear to see how late our hours go. I know for the Jones building, we'll be hosting events prior to the concerts to try to help bring people down, get their parking, get ready for the concert. So we're excited for the different events that we'll hold in conjunction with the concerts.
Businesses aren't just capitalizing off the new venue bringing foot traffic through their doors. They're also using the shows as a way to give back.
So obviously we'll have the wonderful concerts that are happening on the Levitt stage, but in addition to that, it gives us the opportunity to partner with different nonprofits or businesses that are interested in working with other nonprofits to lift up their mission, to bring important awareness to different groups that are doing great work in our community, and to help just make the lawn a really fun, engaging place to be.
Overall, everyone in the area seems to agree the next phase of this part of downtown Sioux Falls is already a win for businesses and citizens alike.
They've been wonderful, and we really believe that having the concerts here, bringing people downtown, you'll just love to go to the restaurants, go to the bars, go to the shops, and then come hear some great music.
Halverson says despite being the smallest city to get a Levitt show in the country, they have had outstanding community support. The Levitt at the Falls will host 50 free concerts a year. In fact, they're announcing a full lineup this week. We will share it with you on the KELOLAND News app. Well, a different type of water rescue took place this week near Koval Lake in Sioux Falls. KELOLAND's Perry Groten shows you what went down at Dalrymple Village.
This mother duck and her babies have ruled the roost in the courtyard of Dalrymple Village.
We've really had a lot of fun with it, so the residents like it, and they're around for maybe a week inside the interior courtyards where they feed them.
But as the motherly mallard was leading her brood on a stroll across the Dalrymple parking lot, 3 of her ducklings fell through a grate and into the drain pipe below.
Mom, she's walking over the grates herself and she can make it, but the little ones fall in and she doesn't even realize it, and pretty soon she's back there standing over the grate squawking to try to get them back out.
So the Dalrymple maintenance staff went after the wayward waddlers.
I got here this morning and the first thing I heard is there's ducks in the grate, so we kind of know what to do about it, so I just headed over there and pulled the grate off, and we hopped down in there and tried to see if we could get them to come back to one end or the other.
It took some coaxing and calling.
Mom will come and get her.
And the ducklings were set free one by one, their little webbed feet cartwheeling in delight over their reunion.
Everybody loves that, Mom getting reunited with the little ones. So.
Then it was time to herd the family across the street to Koval Lake.
You see all the farm kids trying to chase chickens around, and it's just the same idea. I mean, they're fast, and you got to grab, and you got to see what you can't do to catch them and without hurting them.
The Dalrymple staff has become very skilled at these water rescues. It turns out these baby ducks tend to go underwater just about every year at this time.
Well, last year I think we retrieved maybe half a dozen out of there.
Safely out of harm's way, the baby ducks followed their mother's lead by doing a cannonball into Koval, their new home.
We got them.
In Sioux Falls, Perry Groten, KELOLAND News.
Wow. Well, the Dalrymple staff will be putting chicken wire over the grate so no more ducklings will fall through. Well, you can find out more about today's topics online at KELOLAND.com. Just click on the Inside KELOLAND section. Be sure to join us every Sunday night following the 10 o'clock news right here on KELO TV. That's all the time we have for today. Be sure to join us again next week for more on what's going on inside KELOLAND. We leave you tonight with more ducks.